All right, good morning. I am here today to announce my selection for the Senator for District 42. That selection will be Mike Jacobson. Mike Jacobson is a native Nebraskan. He and his wife Julie have been a part of the North Platte community for 27 years. Mike is the founder and principal shareholder of Nebraska Land Bank, which he started, zero assets, right, when you started, and has grown that into an $850 million bank with offices not only in North Platte, but also in Kearney and Rock Springs, Wyoming. So it's a great demonstration of why we live in the greatest country in the world, as well as the greatest state in that nation, that we have the opportunity for people like Mike to create banks that then create opportunities for the community as well as jobs in the economy. So it's really a fantastic American success story here. So I'm so proud of all your work there, Mike. Mike is heavily involved in the community of North Platte. He is the chair of the North Platte Redevelopment Authority. He's the chair of the North Platte Airport Authority. He sits on the board of Great Plains Health, and he has also had leadership positions with the Nebraska Bankers Association, also with the, he's been on my governor's Ag Advisory Council, the University President Advisory Council, as well as the North Platte Public Schools Foundation. So Mike and his wife Julie are heavily involved, and most importantly, Mike is a conservative who will reflect the values of the people of District 42. He's going to be an advocate for efficient and effective government, for family values, and for making sure we're creating opportunities for families here in the state of Nebraska. So with that, I'm going to ask Chief Heavican to come up and swear in Mike Jacobson to be our senator from District 42. Chief?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jacobson. Would you please raise your right hand? And your answer to this will be, I so swear, or I so affirm. Do you, Mike Jacobson, solemnly swear or affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Nebraska, and will faithfully discharge the duties of Senator according to the best of your ability, and in the process by which you were chosen to fill said office, you did not improperly influence in any way the vote of any elector, and have not accepted nor will accept or receive directly or indirectly any money or other valuable thing from any corporation, company, or person, or any promise of office for any official act or influence for any vote you may give or withhold on any bill, resolution, or appropriation. Do you so affirm or so swear?
I so swear and affirm.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mike, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. First, I want to say thank you to the governor for his confidence in me. I want to thank the Chief Justice for being here and swearing me in. Thank you so much. I also want to thank my wife, Julie, of 47 years. Julie's been by my side through a lot of times. We've done a lot together. We went through the loss of a child, an infant son. We've adopted 2 children, been parents, and I'm hoping not too long in the future we'll be grandparents. But nonetheless, Julie's been by my side, and I appreciate that. I also want to take a minute to thank my bank staff. I've asked a lot of them over the years. A lot of people look at the bank and look to me. I can tell you the credit really goes to my staff. I believe in building teams, working together, appreciating everyone that's a part of that process, and I think you talk to my staff and they will affirm that, and I really appreciate all the times they've had to step up and support what's going on, and obviously I'm going to be pretty preoccupied down here, and I appreciate their willingness to step up and continue to move the bank forward as well. I am a strong conservative. I believe heavily in entrepreneurism. I've believed that the state of Nebraska offers wonderful opportunities. I'm kind of an example of living it, going to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, ending up serving as a teacher for a few years, and then ending up in banking, which has been a wonderful career. So I see this as an opportunity to give back, continue to promote conservative values in the legislature, and to continue to work with all my colleagues to work together to make Nebraska an even better place to live and work, and also to represent everyone in the 42nd District. And so with that, I want to thank you all for being here, and thank you, Governor, again.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike. Appreciate it. All right, with that, we'll go ahead and open up to questions and answers.
Governor, just what's the process when you find out about a resignation? What's your process for selecting?
Well, typically what we'll do when we know we've got more notice, we'll open it up to allow people to apply with a short time frame and where we were with this legislative session. In this case, we interviewed candidates who were either already announced or expressed an interest, and we turned it around very quickly so we could fill that position for District 42.
Do you have any comment on Senator Groene's resignation and the situation surrounding him and the investigations that are ongoing?
Just that Senator Groene and I spoke on Friday and agreed that it was best for him to resign, and he did. Yeah.
How many people did you interview, Governor, and what was your criteria for deciding who ultimately to choose?
Well, I interviewed 5 people overall, 3 of which were announced candidates, 2 of which expressed an interest, including Mr. Jacobson here, Senator Jacobson, sorry. And went through and interviewed the different candidates and made my selection. Paul?
What did you see in Senator Jacobson?
Senator Jacobson now.
Why did he stand out?
One of the things that I love about the senator here is that he has experienced the American dream. He's worked hard all his life. He believes in entrepreneurship, and he's demonstrated that through the creation of Nebraska Land Bank, which not only creates opportunities in communities that community bankers do, but creates those job opportunities, and he's going to reflect that conservative voice for the people of District 42.
And is he going to run for the office? Was that part of the?
And Mike will be running for election, yes.
Maybe, Mike, could you talk to us about founding the bank and how long that was ago and what got you into that?
You know, I always get a little nervous. I always tell people that you either have to be incredibly self-confident or insane to do that, but.
I'm sorry, I should repeat the question.
Oh, yes, correct. Yes, excuse me. What's the process of founding a bank, and why did I do that? I had spent 19 years with First Commerce Bank Shares. Part of that was here at the National Bank of Commerce in Lincoln for 10 years. They sent me out to North Platte to run their affiliate out there. A couple of years before they sold to Wells Fargo, I made the decision that I wanted to try to start my own bank, so I lined up some minority shareholders and found 2 other people, so literally 3 of us left First Commerce and chartered Nebraska Land. I would tell you Kimberly Schroll is my chief operating officer. I absolutely could not have made the bank work without her support from day one and her hard work. And I want to publicly give her credit for all the work that she's done to make us what we are. And obviously I'm leaning very heavily on her because she and I office in the same area, and she's an incredible worker. And I will tell you that when you start a bank at that time, it was, I guess we're now looking at about 24 years ago, put up $3 million in capital, started with no deposits, no customers. We're at $850 million in total assets today and about $82 million in capital. So it's been an incredible journey, but as I said before, it's hiring the right people, it's building great teams, it's giving them the tools to be successful, and then getting out of the way and letting them do great work. And I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big team builder. I would tell you that your people are your greatest assets. Many times I continue to share with my staff the importance that if you're on our payroll, you're valuable to the bank, you're an incredible asset to the bank, and I'm going to make sure that you have all the tools to be successful. I also recognize the fact that every employee has a personal life, and they're real people, they're not robots, and you need to treat them accordingly. And so I'm really blessed to have a great bank, and it's been from the great people there. Also happy that over the last 3 years we've been recognized by the American Banker as one of the best banks, workplaces in America. And I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of that because I have a great team.
Are you the only locally owned bank?
Yeah, there are 2 principal shareholders. I'm one of them, and I have one other principal shareholder, and then we have a number of minority shareholders.
But you're the only locally owned bank
We're the only locally owned bank in North Platte, and we're the only bank headquartered in North Platte.
What attracted you to the legislative job? I mean, why did you throw your name in, or why did you accept when the governor offered you one?
Okay, well, the question is, what was my interest in accepting this appointment? I would tell you that the reason was I really care about what's going on in Nebraska and what the future holds. I know there are a lot of things going on at the national level, and I'm a strong conservative. I believe heavily in entrepreneurism. I really want to make sure that we can continue to keep the conservative values that we hold in the 42nd District and really help move forward that agenda for the entire state. And so I just felt like at my time in my career, it was probably time for me to give back. I know it's going to be an incredible amount of work, but I'd also tell you I'm someone who's driven, and when I commit to doing something, I'm going to do it well.
Senator, you're just being dropped into the middle of a session. Just what's your mindset going to be going into it? Have you studied up on the bills that are open? Just how are you going to jump in?
Well, the question is, how am I going to jump in here being in the middle of the session, and have I studied up on many of the bills? And the answer is, I have studied up on a lot of the priority bills. I recognize where we are in the Senate and the legislature. We're halfway through it today. So I realize that the priority bills are the ones that are going to get attention. I know that I'm going to need a lot of help, even though I've been very involved in government relations with the Nebraska bankers and others. I understand the political process. I understand how bills are done, but I also know this is day one and I'm a newbie. And so I'm going to rely very heavily on others in the legislature to help guide me this first time through, and I just hope I can be a positive difference and get up to speed quickly.
Was this something that you have wanted to do for a while, or was it the opportunity that came open that got you to thinking, yes, I'd like to serve in the legislature?
The question is, how long have I wanted to do this, and what spurred me to do this? I would tell you that I thought pretty long and hard earlier about doing this last fall, and there were many, I think, waiting to see whether I was going to jump into the race. At the time, the bank had some potential things going on that in the way of a possible acquisition that we could have been making that would have added to the size of the bank, and I was concerned that it was going to be too much of a workload on my staff. We since have not moved forward with that, planned to slow our growth, and because of that, I started having some regret about not entering the race. So in a lot of ways, I feel like this was an interesting opportunity when it opened up, and so I offered to the governor that I would be willing to fill the seat. So one thing led to another, and here I am.
Yes, Senator, are there any of Groene's legislation that's out there pending that you have an interest in carrying on yourself?
I think the bills that I would have interest in have been picked up, and I think they all needed to be picked up by noon yesterday. So I plan to be in a support role with the senators that have picked them up, and part of my intention today would be to get with those senators and find out how I can be helpful.
How would you describe your politics compared to Senator Groene? He has a bill that would legalize medical marijuana, for instance. Is that something you're supportive of? Just generally, how would you compare your politics with his?
I guess the question is, how would I compare my politics to Senator Groene? I think Senator Groene was a very strong conservative, and I would say that I am too. I probably got a little bit different style, but I would tell you that I am a conservative. I will continue to be bringing conservative values. I've known the governor a long time, and I think he knew when I applied that he would be getting a strong conservative if he appointed me.
So what do you mean by conservative values?
Well, I would say that if I look at, and let me repeat the question, what do I mean by conservative values? You know, I'm a fiscal conservative, I'm a social conservative, and I think those are probably somewhat self-explanatory. I probably can't get into details on specific things, but I would just tell you that I'm opposed to raising taxes, and so that would be the fiscal conservative in me. I also am a pro-lifer, and that would probably tell you a little bit about my social background. Being the parents of who lost Julie and I were went through several miscarriages, ended up with a 26-week-old baby who weighed 1 pound and 12 ounces, lived for 5 weeks and died on our 10th wedding anniversary. Fortunately, we were able to adopt 2 children, and I can tell you that I understand what that's all about. So I understand adoption, I understand the loss of a child, I understand the viability of that child when it's born, that we held in our arms, who weighed 1 pound and 12 ounces. So I would tell you that that's where my basis in that belief is at. So that would probably sum up a lot of my views. Yes, sir.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the debate or discussion yesterday? And coming into that, I mean, how does your style, I guess, mesh with the rest of the body?
Well, I didn't spend a lot of time watching yesterday. I had a lot of other things on my mind that I was, including an interview down here. But I would tell you that I know a lot of the senators personally. A lot of them are outside the receiving room here. I've got a very good personal relationship with them, and I expect to expand that personal relationship. So I think there's a lot of colleagues that I'll be working with now that have been good friends over the years, and I'm really looking forward to hit the ground running. Yes, sir.
What about that marijuana question?
Yeah.
He had a bill, and then it's kind of raised some eyebrows about, conservative carrying that sort of bill. And I know the governor's got some strong views on that.
The only comment I'd make is that I'm very concerned about recreational marijuana and anything that would lead to the use of recreational marijuana. So with that, I haven't dealt in more detail in the bill, specifically as it relates to the medical marijuana, and I probably am not in a position to do much more to comment until I can dig into it further. Yes, sir.
Senator, how does your past experience and your expertise, I guess, mesh with, this is they say it's a transformational session. You've got 30 days. When you're looking at some of the money that's being asked to be spent and things like that, how do you think your experience will help that process out?
Well, the question is how's my experience going to help through this transformation as we get through these final 30 days, particularly as it comes to allocating the dollars that are out there. I'm a banker. John Stenner is the chair of the Appropriations Committee. John and I have known each other. We met when we were both with First Commerce back in 1980. So we've been friends a lot of years. I know John really well, very bright guy, very good at what he does. So I would tell you that at this point my job's a little bit easier because all the bills have been introduced, most of the priorities have been identified. Obviously there'll be work in the Appropriations Committee to decide how some of these dollars get allocated. I'm aware of what the governor's priorities are, and so like I say, it's day one for me. It's hard for me to characterize how I'm going to act. I'm sure all of you will have an opportunity to understand that once I spend some time on the floor, and you can make your own decision. Yes?
Did you support Mike Groene when he stood for election the last 2 times here?
I did.
Is your daughter a lobbyist?
She is.
And what's her name?
Mary.
There. Who's she lobbying for?
She's with, let me see, I gotta get the name right. I think it's Nebraska Strategies.
Time for one more question?
Can we ask the governor on something different?
Sure.
I'd love to turn it over to him.
You did a fantastic job, Senator. Great job for your first press conference. Yeah, Andrew.
Governor, the Nebraska People's Convoy coming through the state March 1st. I mean, what's your opinion? Do you support that? That's for the anti-mask mandate.
Well, as far as the trucking convoy, raising awareness about pushing back on things like mask mandates and vaccine passports and so forth, I support that. My position on mask mandates and vaccine passports has been very clear for the past 2 years. I oppose those things. I was on the TV over the weekend talking about encouraging Prime Minister Trudeau and President Biden to re-implement the vaccine exemptions for truckers so that we could have commerce back and forth across the border. The President himself identified supply chain issues as being one of the cause for inflation, and yet he's implementing a policy that is going to exacerbate the problem, make worse the problem of inflation by creating troubles with regard to cross-border trade. So, I oppose mask mandates, I oppose those vaccine passports, and I appreciate people who are trying to raise awareness about why those things are inappropriate. All right.
Will you greet them when they come into town?
With regard to will I greet them when they come into town, that hasn't been determined yet. I don't have any, frankly, when you told me they were gonna be here March 1st, that's the first I heard of it. So, thank you very much, folks, appreciate it. I wanna welcome again our newest senator to the legislature and wish him well in these last 30 session days we got, about 2 months of calendar time. It's gonna be a fast and furious pace, but I know that Senator Jacobson here is gonna be up to the task.
Thanks
Thank you
again.
very much. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.